Hi, good afternoon. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Empowering Aging podcast. I'm Jill Cassiani with Connect Our Elders, and I'm happy to report today that we have our very first guest on our show, Carrie Esselman from the Fox Valley Memory Project, here to talk a little bit about why she got into working with the aging population and in the dementia field and all in the memory project. So at first, Carrie, thank you so much for being here, and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got into dementia.
Yeah, well, I born and raised in Wisconsin, and family is always important, and it's always a shocker when you're in high school, almost going into college, that a family member has Alzheimer's, and not quite sure what that is. So going into college and getting my education, I got a bachelor's degree in therapeutic recreation, and come to find out that I'm able to work in long-term care with those with dementia. So got in the field right out of college. And during that time, my grandfather on my dad's side had Alzheimer's. And so my dad was one of his main caregivers. And so it was interesting listening to the stories coming from my father, absolutely having no idea what that disease was, but then seeing the effect on my family.
Right.
So then since then, I have not looked back. I've been about 15 years in long-term care. And then within the last 5, it's been more community-based dementia care.
Right. Because you also worked through one of our local counties that you.
Correct.
Yep.
So the state of Wisconsin is kind of a leader in the United States with dementia practices, dementia friendliness in their communities. And a few years ago, a program went statewide. It's the Dementia Care Specialist program, and it's a position within the Aging and Disability Resource Centers of each county. Now, that started out with 5 counties that had a dementia care specialist, and now since last year, the budget was passed to have at least a half-time dementia care specialist in every county and tribe within the state of Wisconsin, which is wonderful. So in 2020, I became the first dementia care specialist for Outagamie, Waupaca, and Calumet counties. And then as the budget was passed, like I said last year, we were able to add another half-time dementia care specialist just for Waupaca County. And so as I left that position to come to the Fox Valley Memory Project, as I'll share, that was my passion project for many years. It is now filled with another dementia care specialist in that role. So we are very lucky to not only be in the state of Wisconsin, but to be in this area with dementia resources that we have.
Yes, I agree. And just talking with Waupaca County ADRC this morning too, we all want to be able to make other people aware of really what is available, what are the resources that are out there for aging population. And that is actually one of the reasons why I decided to start with these podcasts. I mean, not only at the county level, but at the state level, as well as your local level, and in all kinds of facets and industries and stuff. So, well, good. Yeah. So why is it important that you feel it is to raise awareness about Alzheimer's and dementia? I know you and I know, but.
Yeah, I mean, I know we all turn another year older every year. That's not a choice. So we're all growing older. And we like to say age is just a number, but to dementia, there's a lot of different factors that come into play with lifestyle and, brain health. But growing older or age is our biggest risk factor for dementia. And so with that, the rise of dementia, there's no cure. There are medications out there to help slow the progression or to maintain the level that you are at, but there's no cure. So the death rate of, the disease of dementia is rising, while all other death rates are diminishing with treatment and cures. And so with the baby boomers and the population of just the US alone is growing tremendously, the prevalence of this disease is going to be skyrocketing. And I used to say within the next 10, 20 years, but that was about 5 years ago. So that's 5 years from now. there's nothing that we can do to stop this disease right now. But there are ways that we can live with it. And so that is kind of my take on it, is that we don't need people to suffer through this disease.
No.
We don't need people to think that they're helpless. We need to empower and support. And that I'm so very proud to be part of Wisconsin and this area of Wisconsin, Waupaca County, Calumet County, Outagamie, and Winnebago, to have those supports available. But you don't know what's out there unless you don't know what you don't know. So the awareness to these families that are living this journey, we need to get that out there, that there is help, there is hope, and there is a way to live with this disease.
Yes, absolutely. And I think too, again, raising awareness through each individual town, city, through the county, there's just such a wide scope in the generation, like you said, with the baby boomers, that we try not to miss anybody. But, and again, some people just don't understand the magnitude or the now what's, like, where do I turn, and so that's why I wanted to have you on, not only to talk a little bit more about your dementia friendly communities, but just in general, like what are some of the resources that are available for people? Because like you said, all of a sudden we have okay, now what do I do? Now where do I turn? Where can I get educated on dementia and Alzheimer's, and whether I turn to the, an outsource of the county or, anybody individually. So tell me, what is your dementia friendly community? When you say that terminology, what is a dementia friendly community?
Well, it's it's the saying, be kind, do kind. It's being a good neighbor. It's being able to go to the store, and even if you're confused or you're not quite sure how to wayfind within a grocery store, there's somebody there that will step up and help you. Let's say Bob goes to the grocery store every Wednesday, and that grocery store clerk knows Bob. And one day they see Bob a little off, not able to wayfind, or Bob's buying 50 cans of cat food, and Bob does not have a cat. And you ask Bob, well, what's the cat food for? And he says it's soup. Something's going on. So you're putting up your red flag and just kind of watching the safety of Bob and watching out for him. That is a dementia-friendly community. That is the awareness that something's going on with your neighbors, friends, coworkers, and then knowing those resources within that community. But also, Bob's wife is able to still take Bob out for dinner, even if Bob can't speak a clear sentence, but he still enjoys being social. And Bob's an adult. He's a grown man. He has accomplished a lot in his life. And you go out to a restaurant and the waiter only talks to Bob's wife. Well, Bob's able to answer that he likes his Pepsi, so he can order his Pepsi, but the waiter's not looking directly at him to order. Well, then, a dementia-friendly community is training that restaurant or the restaurants within the community how to interact with somebody maybe that is having those memory issues, giving them two options, or just learning who Bob is, and he likes Pepsi, so to give him his Pepsi. So there's those little things that a dementia-friendly community can be within just services, but also programming and opportunities to be social within the scope of dementia. So you may not be able to go to those performances or plays that you used to because of the sound and the sensory struggles, but you're able to come to a memory cafe. A memory cafe is a social event that is themed, that's still educational, but you're able to come and be with peers that maybe are going through the same journey. And so that's kind of what the Fox Valley Memory Project aims to do, is to go in the communities served and create those opportunities for those families to still come and enjoy social engagement that's age appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, there's quite a few memory cafes around. And I know that we're involved in a few of them in our local communities. Where is a place that if someone wants to join a memory cafe, where would they be able to find a location for that?
Yeah. Well, we have 19 different, we're hoping to hit 20 by next month. Memory cafes around the 4 counties of Waupaca, Outagamie, Calumet, and Winnebago counties.
Awesome.
And they are at libraries, some are actual at cafes, nature centers. In Waupaca County, there is one at Mosquito Hill Nature Center, New London Senior Center. In March, we're hoping for the Waupaca Senior Center to have a memory cafe as well, and looking to get one up in Manawa. So they're spreading. But if you would like to see where those memory cafes are, what times, what days, you can head to foxvalleymemoryproject.org. And we have all of our calendars up, and what is going to be happening at each one of those cafes throughout the month.
Okay. And on this calendar, do you have other events that are going on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
more than just a memory cafe that they can find some information, maybe even some initial classes on certain things, or what are some other things that would be on this calendar of events?
Yeah, so we have a respite program. It's called MindWorks, and that runs 2 days a week for 3 hours at a time. And that right now in Waupaca County is held at the Waupaca Library. And we have a staff facilitator that runs that program. It is only $10 a class because all we need to do is cover the lunch. So they get a nice lunch catered in, and programming and socialization with peers. And so that respite program, the days and times and place can also be found at foxvalleymemoryproject.org. And during those respite programs, MindWorks, we have support groups. So we have many support groups throughout the valley, in Waupaca County, usually during those times of respite. So the caregiver, we know that they have respite and are able to come and talk openly at the support group. But then we also have a lunch bunch, and lunch bunch is to be attended by anyone and everyone that wants to be a friend of the Fox Valley Memory Project. And that is once a month in Waupaca, and it's once a month in every county. So every Friday of the month, there's a lunch bunch somewhere within driving distance of Northeast Wisconsin. And that is for, it's kind of an entry point. If you're not quite sure about memory cafes, come join us at a lunch bunch. It's $10 per person, and the Memory Project covers the rest of your meal. And so it's a wonderful way to come and socialize, get to know others that are involved in these different programs, and just have some good social time.
That's awesome. That's, because there's one thing that I know working in the industry, with working with someone that has dementia, that the isolation, that not only that they feel, because let's face it, they're feeling it, but their loved one, their caregiver, their primary caregiver, that isolation of them not being able to get out and have, it's like a sense of community when they join, whether it's memory cafe or the lunch bunch, or even going to these educational classes. I can imagine it feels like they're not alone.
Right.
Did you feel that you get some of that feedback from that?
Absolutely. Isolation is one of the biggest struggles when somebody has dementia, because naturally through the disease progression, isolation happens, and it's very serious. But let's throw a pandemic in there too, where everyone is isolated, right?
Yeah.
So the past couple of years coming out of this pandemic has been very crucial. A lot of people have been in crisis mode coming out of it. Not only for their loved one, but we've seen more caregivers in crisis mode than we have the loved one that's going through living with dementia.
Right.
Because caregivers care. They take care of everyone else besides themselves. But sometimes they have that opportunity to go out and socialize. Well, through this pandemic, there was no opportunity. And so that isolation for both of them has been so serious. And, the statistic says that 80% of caregivers decline faster than the loved one with dementia because they do not take care of themselves. It's like, you got to fill your bucket, but that bucket has a hole. So you got to keep filling that bucket.
Right.
And so, yeah, the isolation is very serious for those individuals with dementia. So getting them socializing in the appropriate environment instead of expecting them to socialize in the environments they are typically used to.
Right.
But also it's important for that caregiver to get out too.
Yeah, yeah. And as you know, I mean, being an advocate of
Mhm.
having that person get that respite, whether it's, a friend, a neighbor,
Mhm.
an agency that,
Mhm.
comes in and takes care of your loved one while you can go out and do
Right.
a little bit of socializing. But like you said, yeah, coming out of the pandemic was definitely um, fragile,
Mhm.
very, very fragile
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and, and not only that, like with even the resources of there are so many different funds out there, to help support and pay for,
Mhm.
or help pay towards that respite. And then there's so many wonderful agencies too to help do those short-term respite stays as well. It's just you gotta know, you gotta know those resources, or you gotta know where to find those resources. Uh,
Right,
but
right.
they're definitely out there, especially in this Northeast Wisconsin area. You just gotta reach out.
Right. So where do you and again, I guess I asked the question, where can some of these people find those resources? Such
Mhm,
whether it's agencies that can help with some of that respite. I mean, is there a list? I know that we have the ADRC books,
mhm.
with the resources in, but if it's something that's just right at their fingertips, do they call the
Right.
local Waupaca County ADRC or
Mhm,
Outagamie? Where would they find that
mhm.
information?
I would always start at your Aging and Disability Resource Center of your county. But some people just aren't comfortable with that, and that's okay,
Right.
as well. We at the Facts Daily Memory Project, we have recognized that, and through a federal grant, we've been able to start up a program called Memory Link, and so we are able to be that resource navigator,
Mhm.
and link people to those resources. We've got relationships with a lot of different resources throughout the county. But not only just to link you with them, but to follow up, to make some of the phone calls for you, because it can be overwhelming,
Yes.
or to have those conversations to get your questions answered and then bring those answers to you. And so we have two full-time resource navigators that are able, and it's a free program for these caregivers. Um, and so we are able to help navigate those resources as well. So kind of two different options within this area of the ADRC and
Yeah.
resource navigators.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
So how would a community go about creating a dementia friendly community?
Yeah. Well, I would love to snap my fingers and clone the Fox Valley Memory Project all around the state of Wisconsin, and to only enhance this dementia care specialist program that we have, because it's critical now, but it's going to be even more critical within the next coming years. Um, but creating a dementia-friendly community, there's this, movement that came out of the UK, I would say, 13 years ago. It's called the Purple Angel, and the Purple Angel is going to local businesses and giving a basic dementia 101 training. So like I said, giving a choice when ordering a soda. It goes a long ways. Um, and, but Dementia 101 trainings they're pretty basic. There are certain organizations or businesses throughout the community that will want even further education, but it's really just going into the businesses, having a conversation about dementia, or hey, my neighbor here, he frequents here a lot. If you see anything, can you give a phone call to his wife? She has given me permission to let you know this. Having those conversations, being open about it, and offering a hand. We all are part of that community, and we all
Mhm.
are part of action to become a dementia-friendly community.
Sure. Okay.
Mhm.
Would that start with the memory project?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we go out and do trainings in all sorts of different industries. So you could easily call us, let us know an industry, or even your place of work. Um, we always say that, dementia normal, whatever normal is, onset 65 plus. But we are, for whatever reason, seen a lot more early onset, which is 65 and younger, 50-year-olds, 53-year-olds. And they're still in the workforce. They're working towards a retirement, and then they get this diagnosis of dementia. Um,
Mm.
there's resources out there that we've helped. Uh, have employers become dementia friendly in employing somebody with dementia.
Sure.
And we've kind of been their go-to to be that, idea. We bounce ideas to creatively keep them employed, but also finding other avenues of employment for that individual if their current job is not, safety aspects are not, they're not able to stay employed. So yeah, we do trainings at all different sorts of different industries,
Mm-hmm.
and are willing to do that. One thing that we shy away from and kind of reference out is training more long-term care communities, just because they have a lot of resources at their fingertips and are able to, get those education aspects from their kind of line of work.
Right.
We just try to stick to more community-based businesses and industries.
In industries. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I have a couple comments here, so I'm going to put
All
my
right.
heaters on. And Sarah says, this sounds like a wonderful program. Very impressive that Wisconsin is doing this. And also, this is such an important topic. Very impressive that Wisconsin has established this incredible program. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. I know you had said you're kind of like, it feels like it's something that you have such a passion for
Mhm.
and wanting to create this. And
Mhm.
so congratulations on
Yeah.
making all those efforts. And I know it's a team effort, of
Yep.
course,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we started about 10 years ago, the idea. Um, John and Susan McFadden studied dementia-friendly communities over in the UK. They're about 10 years ahead of us in dementia-friendly communities, and brought the idea over here to Northeast Wisconsin and Appleton area. And I was part of, helping think of those different things. And since then, in 10 years, this organization has grown and has helped many hundreds of people with living with dementia.
Sure. And actually,
Mhm.
that's what I was going to ask you. Was my next question was, I know you kind of covered it throughout our
Mhm.
conversation, but so just explain a little bit in detail what is and again, I know you guys use Fox Valley Memory
Mhm.
Project, but it's helping a few counties. So
Mhm.
just explain to,
Mhm.
everybody, like, what exactly is that?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, it started in the Fox Valley, so
Mhm.
Appleton area. And our memory cafes took off, and we started at it was used to be called the Atlas Mill Cafe, downtown by the river, and then in Nina Library. And so there were about 3 or 4 different memory cafes that started up. There were a couple of bus trips, but that's the extent of what the memory project was.
Okay.
There were some very big key partners within, at that time, there was no dementia care specialist program, so we had some county nurses on the board and involvement within the project. And really, it was the champions throughout the community that really all came together to make this possible. And throughout the years, and then when we got our federal grant 2 years ago through the federal ACL grant, we were able to extend out to those other counties. So we were in Outagamie County. We did kind of northern Winnebago, but then we were able to spread out and have an effect on more rural communities.
Mhm.
And that expansion is still happening. So stay
Oh,
tuned.
yeah, that's great to hear because, you know, as we service, I mean, even the rural counties, everybody, we still need these services out
Absolutely.
in these rural areas
Sometimes even more.
more so, yes, I was gonna say
Mhm.
more so now than ever, really.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So how can others help in your cause? How can I help? How can anybody that's
Mhm.
out there listening and in the communities, what are some ways that we can help the memory project?
Yeah, well, one, referring individuals to us or those caregivers that are just at their wits' ends and just don't know where to turn. Um, or those caregivers that are like, oh, I don't need anything, still give them our information because it's just planting that seed.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many caregivers 3, 4, 6 months down the road come back and be like, okay, we need help. And usually it's too late, or it's not too late, but it's usually a little later in the game of,
Crisis mode.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, but just plant that seed with them. Let them know that there is something out there. And if anything, remember, start at your county ADRC. With that Dementia Care Specialist, we work very, very closely with them, almost speaking to them on a daily basis. And so there's definitely a collaboration of services throughout the county. Exhibit A.
Yeah, right.
And her services. And so if we don't have the answer, we will find the answers. So, but also volunteering. We always need volunteers. You don't need to be a professional. You don't need to know a lot about dementia. We'll handle that. We just need someone who wants to make a difference in someone's life, has a caring heart and time. So, we always need volunteers within our respite program. I forgot to mention, our memory cafes are all volunteer ran. So like I said, we're about to hit 20 different memory cafes. Every single one of them are ran by volunteers, whether it's at that library, those librarians, or if it's just community volunteers. So we're very, very thankful for all the volunteers because we couldn't do what we do. But also, and if you want to become a Purple Angel trainer, we're welcoming that as well. So different roles that you can take. And if there's something in their community that you don't have that is a need, we would love to hear about it. We like to write grants and make things happen. So
yeah, right. So that's good to know. I wrote that one down because there might be some people that I would think that might happen with. But so you have an event coming up as well. So,
yes,
which, by the way, did you get my email on that?
Sure did.
So tell everybody a little bit about what this amazing night is.
Yeah, so we have an annual fundraising event. It's called Living Life because we like to still know that there's life to live, even though you've got dementia or a loved one does. So it's a night to come out and have a great time, meet with all your peers. We have a silent auction. So if you're not able to come, even though we'd like you to come, you're able to log on and take advantage of our silent auction items. And we also have a live auction, which is very exciting. We've got so our theme this year is experiences. And so we have some VRBOs in Waupaca County, some pheasant hunting, some Panama City beach vacations, and then an Italy trip and an Antigua trip. So we've got lots of things that are happening because we want people to go and experience and live life. So our Living Life fundraiser is April 18th at 4:30 to 7:30 at Waverly Beach in Menasha. You can log into foxvalleymemberproject.org to find information on that coming soon, or pay attention to our Facebook page. We will be posting updates and then those silent auction links that you're able to log on and bid on those auctions. We've got some bourbons, some pretty rare bourbons. I was never tuned into this bourbon world until Mike, our executive director, filled us all in. So everyone has just been stepping up to donate items, to be sponsors, to just, give their time and talents. And we are so grateful for that. And it just goes to show how much an effect this disease has on people, because a lot of these individuals have been personally touched by this disease. So a huge thank you to all those people who have stepped up, the board that has been very active with this event as well. So if you're able to come, we would love to see you. It is a very, very fun night. And also there's a special performance by our On a Positive Note chorus. So we have a chorus that is made up of individuals living with dementia and their caregivers. And so they will be performing, and they practice. They've got about 8 performances a year, but this is one of their bigger ones. So
very nice. Now, what year are you on for this? Is this
Living Life? I believe this is our 5th year.
Nice. Okay.
But we had it online for a few years because of COVID. But last year was pretty big and exciting, and this year is just going to be even bigger. So
wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I have it on my, that I'm planning on coming. So
yes. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so to wrap things up, where, and I know you had said this again, but we'll just do it here at the end of the podcast as well. Where can people find additional information? I know you had said your website a few times. Do you have a phone number, email?
Yep.
tell everybody how they can find out a little bit more information.
Yeah, so you could find all of our calendars, our newsletter, all of our information on www.foxvalleymemoryproject.org. You can visit us on Facebook, which is just Fox Valley Memory Project. You can give us a call. It's at 920-225-1711. And we always have somebody there answering the phone. Otherwise, we always get back to you within 24 hours is our goal. And if you'd like to email us any questions, concerns, ideas, or you'd like to volunteer, email us at info at foxvalleymemoryproject.org.
Okay.
Many different ways to get a hold of us, or just Google us.
Right. So back to your are you still taking donations?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. We are still taking donations or gift basket items or products, things like that.
Wonderful. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carrie, for coming on. It was so exciting. And then obviously, if there's any other information that anybody has or wants any other information on the Fox Valley Memory Project, to get a hold of Carrie. Again, I'm Jill Cassiani with Connector Elders, and I want to thank you for joining us. Again, my main goal is to educate, advocate, and empower our aging population. And we at Connector Elders, we are a trusted resource in making those difficult decisions, whether that your family, whether with or without dementia, if you're noticing something that that person, that loved one needs to have either a little bit more care in the home or the socialization, like Carrie and I mentioned, whether or not that they need a special place to go, you can reach me and my team at 920-750-4246. And again, Carrie, thank you so much for being my very first podcast. Yeah, so we're hoping to have these every Tuesday, again, to educate the communities on the resources out there that are available, from advanced directives to financial planning, estate planning, funeral planning. I mean, you name it. We're going to try to get everybody some education and everything. So thank you so much. And you guys all have a great day. Thanks, Carrie.
Yep.
Bye.